So what I'm going to go through in this video is I'm going to go from start to finish how we run Facebook and Meta ad campaigns for our gyms and fitness studios in 2025. This is based on working with well over 100 facilities this year and managing their ads and kind of doing all that stuff. So it's gonna be very tactical. So just sit back, go through it, and pay attention. So the first thing, and this is a big mistake I see so many people do with their ads, is they're just reusing the same old stuff they've been using forever, recycling the old ads, or sometimes even worse is just looking at what someone else is doing and just copying that. And then what happens is everyone's using the same shit to the same people, and you're just looking like everyone else. So there's nothing to distinguish your business over somebody else's. So if you've ever had a lead not remember what they signed up for or remember who you are or say, hey, are you this other gym? It's probably because you have a very similar, if not the exact same marketing message, using the same creatives, all that sort of stuff. So that's a huge, huge, huge issue that I see. And it all comes back down to the basics. So the first thing you need to do is you need to really understand who your avatar is. And it's typically not just one person. It's not like, we work with moms 35 to 60 or women, who want more energy, who are over 35. Like that's not really an avatar. You need to dig deeper. And with AI, it makes it so much easier. And so many people are being so lazy with that. So digging into like, what are the deep pain points? What are their psychographics? Like, what are the things that actually talk to them? So, telling someone in your ad copy, like talking about having more energy, like really, like you need more stuff in there so they feel like it's talking to you. It's like, like jumpstart your energy. Like that's not even a real thing. So saying something like an example, like for me, I'm a parent, I'm a dad. So it's like have more energy to keep up with your son or your kids after school or on the weekends. Like that's something where instantly when I read that, I'm like, oh yeah, like if I had more energy with like to play with Noah, that would be amazing, right? So it's you're kind of digging in a little bit deeper than just saying like, do you want more energy, right? Like it's so generic. So digging deeper and then breaking down like a couple different types of people, right? So you have your avatar, but like what are the different things you want to talk about? So again, one might be parents. If you work with a lot of parents, it could be parents, right? That could be like one of your avatars. One could be not necessarily busy professionals, but it could be like working adults, right? So it could be working parents or working adults. They kind of have similar things, right? They have their social life, they have like stresses at work, all that sort of thing. But dig into like what they are and actually come up with that. So that's the very, very first thing you need to do because you're going to write different ad copy for that. So I'm going to put in here. So we're going to start off with, avatar one. Okay. Oh, I should probably share my screen, right? So I'm going to show you just a nice big presentation here. Let's see, make this bigger, right? So here we go. Avatar one, right? We do that research about them, right? We have avatar two. So let's say we got, let's say moms, right? Let's say we got dads. I'm going to make this again, super practical, super easy. Make four of them. Working adults, right? And we'll go last one. We'll have grandparents, right? So it could be like you have that demographic where you're like 40 to 60, right? You can have some people that are grandparents in there as well. So let's use these just because they're going to be very easy to kind of go through. So we figure this out, right? Really list out a ton of their pain points. What I'm going to do is I'm going to drop in the comments or a little, blanking right here, an AI tool that we use to actually, use ChatGPT to actually pull out some of this stuff for you. So here it is. All we're going to do is hit the get started. So I'm actually going to take you through this. Okay, so we're going to say what service? Small group personal training. Again, what transformational results we offer. And again, you can start off a little bit more vague here, right? I'm going to go through kind of what I typically see most people do with this. So increase energy levels, get stronger, because I want to show you how this can actually kind of really dig in for it, get stronger, lose a bit of weight. And then we'll go one more. What do people usually just say? The energy is get stronger, lose a bit of weight, and feel more confident. All right. These are some of the things I typically see when I talk to gym owners, what they say. Ideal client, it's men and women, 40 to 65, right? And again, if you don't know that, again, I'm just going through really basic to show you how you can actually use this tool to get more out of it. So, because this is usually what people talk about when they talk about their avatar, that's kind of the depth that they actually have. Just going to kind of work through here, right? It's going to build through stuff for you. It's funny to go with Karen, so she must have a lot of objections, right? And you can see it just pumping through all this stuff, right? To give us that demographic, their core problem, right? So again, so you see how it goes a little bit more, right? It's like feels sluggish, weak, increasingly disconnected from her own body. So you see how that's just like, it sounds different than just like, has no energy. It's affecting her confidence. That's a big thing here, right? Feels intimidated by busy gyms, right? And something a lot of people don't actually talk about. Okay. Top 5 emotions, biggest fears, right? Becoming invisible, pain points, right? Talking about how this affects their close relationships again, so that it can actually really resonate with them, right? So children lacking the energy or strength to be active with them or helping them move. Conversation about hurtful things about the relationship. Okay, here's something they might actually be saying, right? Things they've tried, right? So that probably sounds pretty familiar, right? And it talks about different things, right? They feel lost or intimidated in regular gym, which is very, very common, right? So that could be something that you use like in a headline of your ad. No accountability. That can explain like why working with you in a small group setting is a lot different than just joining a gym or the online workout videos or apps or all that sort of stuff, right? Again, this is a pretty common one, right? Another thing, what they don't want to do, right? So talking about the stuff that you actually don't want to do. Again, little sound bites, right? I don't want to feel like I'm in a boot camp, right? I don't want to feel embarrassed working out, right? So again, primary transformation. So there's so much stuff that this actually gives you, so you can actually really go into that, right? Then you can use it to help you with the ad copy, all that sort of stuff if you want. But this is the start of what you need to do, right? You need to understand those demographics. So from that, what you actually want to do is you want to come up with copy, one version of copy for at least all of these. What I would typically tell people to do is create 2 versions since you're already doing it, right? So I'm going to go stick this over here, all right? Go add copy number 1, okay? And you're going to say like, oh God, Scott, this feels like a lot of work. Well, it is, right? Because this is what getting a real campaign to work for you takes. Might be a little bit smaller here if we can. So you got this one. Right? If you want to be lazy, just do one, right? Because at least you have, at least you're going to have 4 different versions, variants of the copy right here. All right, let's go again. All right, so we got number 2 here. You know what? We'll just write. You get the point, right? So we have 2 versions of that copy for everybody, okay? And we really want to dig in and talk to the feelings, right? The psychographics. Like use some of that copy that you had that we use with the research, right? Don't get lazy on this. Don't get lazy on this right here. That's where most people get so freaking lazy and they use the same shit as everybody else, right? So it's just like saying like, hey, and a lot of times what we like to do is just call up the suburb if it's a local gym. So it's like, again, I'm going to go a little bit vague, right? So like, you wouldn't do this like, hey, Los Angeles women, right? Obviously you'd be a little bit more, towards the actual suburb, but again, just so you understand, like, hey, Los Angeles women, you don't have to accept, getting older, right? right? They don't want to hear that. Let's see here. What do we have up here? Um, they said about the boot camp. Where's the part about boot camp? Right. Or, even here, right? Like Los Angeles women, slowly feeling like you're, becoming invisible to your partner. Again, it's like for some people, like, I don't want to say that. That sounds mean. That sounds harsh, but it's actually what's kind of going on. We talk about the older, we talk about the grandparents, right? They're losing their independence. They're not, again, some of the copy we used before. It's like, want to actually keep up with your grandkids, or tired of being the one friend who always has to say no to going golfing, going hiking, like all those sort of things, right? Talking about those things, and like this copy here is not going to talk to every mom, right? This one will not talk to every mom, but that's why we want to split test and use different things. We want things that actually resonate and pinpoint that person, because you're not looking to get 500 people into your facility typically, right? We want to use these ones and talk directly, so we're standing out. We're looking a little bit different. So again, for each of these, we have right. We got our different ad copies. So we got this one here, right? We got this one here. Right. We'll stick that over here. So you're starting to get the point, right? We'll duplicate this one. And then one more. Perfect. Right. So we got all these. Now what you want to do, and this is going to be a little bit easier because we're going to, and I guess let's talk about targeting too, right? So we're going to target the moms. So we're targeting moms, right? What we found, you can pick parents under like the demographics, but I would just leave that, right? Just target women, and it's going to be, let's say, we're talking about 35 to 65. So we're just going to target women, 35. And then on Facebook, you can only go up to like 64, and then it goes up past that. So just go 64, right? Right here. We're just going to go, man, same thing, 35 to 64. Same thing, working adults. Again, we can go, I would probably start with women, right? Because you're going to find that women are typically, you're going to get better results from women typically. Not always, but when you start to actually use the ad copy that talks to men, you will realize that you can get a lot more men from your ads. But just starting off, you're going to get your biggest bang for your buck from the women, right? And right here, we can do both men and women, right? Women. Actually, at this point, I would probably go like 45 to 64 plus, right? You can increase up there. Okay. So that's what we have here, right? We got our call out. And then now what you want to do is just create, there's 3 buckets of ad creatives that I like to use, and we like to split test to start with. So we're going to throw these down here. So now we go to the creatives. First one is just text, text only, right? Super simple one. The second one is going to be text with an image. All right. Last one is going to be video. Okay. Those are typically 30 to 60 seconds. This is the one that typically most people skip, don't use, don't do, because it's hard, right? But it's just take some of your ad copy and create a little video, just a talking head video, just literally direct to you, take the copy. A lot of times, and this copy should be long. It shouldn't be short copy. It shouldn't be like 5 sentences. You want long copy. If you're going to resonate with that person, you're going to talk to their pain points or psychographics, it needs to be long copy. And then just take all that copy, some of that copy, use it for the video just to start with. You can obviously get better. We script these out for our clients, but to start with, if you spend the time on doing the avatar, right, first, and then writing the ad copy and making sure it talks to their pain points, you're probably going to have a way better video than most people, right? And the best part about video right now, anyways, is you can't copy. It's really hard to copy someone. You can always you could download the transcript if you wanted to, do all that fancy stuff, and then try to copy it. But it's not you. It's not the same person. It's not that's coming through there. So text only. It could be as simple as, let's say Los Angeles. It can be as simple as this, right? Let's make it big. Let's see here. right? Could just be that. Okay. Contrasting colors, right? So it might be black. This could be black in the background, and this is white, or this could be black text and white right here. What I would do is I'd actually fix this spacing a little bit, right? Just that right there, right? This could just be a text with a real picture. Now, something interesting we've found is with one of the franchises we work with, we tested using AI generated images. I know what you're thinking, but we use two things. We use Nano Banana, which is with Google Gemini, and we also use Whisk, which is also part of the Google family to create this. We split test this, and after our second split test, where we actually split test against a professional designer who we'd hired out to do all these, the AI images actually beat them. Now they looked real. They looked super real. We we actually asked it to like look again, like make them a little bit out of shape, make them look a little bit older, give them some wrinkles, like stuff like that. So it just wasn't coming back as this like perfect AI creation. So we actually use that doing real things, like in the gym doing real things. And then we just had text. There's a bunch of different variations, but you can just basically, even if you just start with, well, help if I spell, right? Even if it was just as simple as this, whoops, if we just had this at the top, right? And then we had our image right in here. Okay. Simple as that, right? Different variations, but we want to test this out. We want to see, do the words just grab it? Is this just, wow, look at this, it's just a big headline, right? It's a big headline to catch attention. This one here, we're getting the visual as well as kind of who we're trying to attract. So there's a little bit of headline with a person to resonate in the video. It's just resonating with that person. Typically, not always, but typically, you're going to find that your video might cost you a little bit more. But we've seen over this past year, since January, as you get to do more videos, we found that it actually has gotten closer to the same price as what our static images are, but it could cost you a little bit more. But you got to think about the brand building that actually associates with that. If it's costing you like double the CPM, cost per thousand impressions, then you might want to look at just getting better at the video or just sticking with the static images. But there's some brand building associated with it, especially if it's you or one of your staff members that's always doing that. So you want to split test the three of these, right? It can be super easy to make these text only and these image ones and have them for different people, right? Has mom, has dad, just, it could even, if it's not playing with your kids, it could probably be the same one here, right? You could just say Los Angeles dads, Los Angeles moms, right? Los Angeles women or men for the adult ones. Los Angeles grandparents, super simple. Same one here, you just got to create an image that's a little bit different. And then this one, just script it out, right? I know what you're thinking, holy crap, Scott, I have to do like 3 of these for each of these. So that's what, 12? Oh my God, I got to create 12 ones. It's not that hard, right? Just use the same kind of template and just tweak it a little bit so that it attracts that person. Again, the more it can catch that person's attention, it talks to that specific person. Again, we're not trying to capture everybody. We're just trying to capture a small section of those people, right? We're pulling off just a few of them, right? If you ran this and you got 5 new clients in a month from moms, from dads, just working adults, grandparents, that's 20 new clients in a month, right? For most people, that's huge. That's huge. Especially if you think you do that for 6 months, 120. For some people, they're maxed out completely at 120. So it doesn't have to be a lot of people, but we want to be specific. So we're standing out from all that generic shit that everyone else is copying and using. So now we want to move on to probably the even more important thing, right? This is going to make a huge difference. With the franchise that we work with, when they hired me on to come consult with them because their cost per lead was getting really high. They went from it was around $41. Basically, they have 71 locations, so they went from 1,710, so 1,710 leads for the 71 locations for the campaign. Just before I came in, by the second campaign that we ran, we ran one, tested kind of this stuff out, then fine tuned it. By the second one, we had 4,247 leads, right? So we more than doubled that. We went from, I think it was on average about 23 leads a location, 22 leads a location to like 53. Okay. So more than double that. So this makes a big difference. But for most people I talk to, it's the follow-up where people really drop the ball, right? So I'm gonna take you through exactly how we follow up. This is literally what we do. This is literally what we do with our clients all the time, right? So now what we want to do is once that lead comes in, so lead comes in. Now I'm gonna take you through, I'm gonna scroll a bit more so we can use this here, right? So we got lead comes in. I'm gonna go this way. We'll make this green for money. All right, green for money, right? And then what we're going to do is SMS, send an SMS one, immediately. Okay. First thing we want to do. Okay. Then if they don't reply, 30 seconds later, sorry, 30 minutes later, 30 seconds later. It's not giving much time. Okay. So we give them that 30 minutes later. Reason being is if someone just opted in, typically, they could have been doing it while they're picking up their kids, right? We talk about parents picking up their kids, or they're grabbing a coffee, right? The professional, they're grabbing a coffee. They could have filled out that form and then, oh, they got to put their phone away because they got to do something else. So if they just filled it out, they probably have their phone near them. So if they haven't replied, we want to send something 30 minutes later to them. Okay. That's what we want to do immediately. Now, we set this all up because we know speed to lead is important. Speed to reply, I feel like it's gotten even more important because if you've been in this industry for more than 12 months, you realize that people's motivation to make change sometimes lasts hours, not days. So we need to, when they reply to us, when they made that micro commitment to actually fill out that form and say, I'm going to make a change, when they actually reply, we need to jump on top of that. So we use an AI receptionist, or a booking bot is what we call it. It's trained on everything that, everything about the business, right? It can answer all the questions, has all that stuff. And its only job is to book them in on your schedule, again, to make that next micro commitment, to commit to actually that appointment. So everything is driving to book an appointment. Okay, that's what we're going for. So this is everything that we are doing is trying to do this, right? So that one is trying to do this, right? Trying to do this. We're trying to book that appointment. Okay. Then what we're going to do after that, if they haven't done that, we also typically, for most of our clients, unless they don't have their email set up, we want to send an email too. Okay. And that email is usually 15 minutes, right? We usually have a 15-minute late. And guess what that's doing, right? The same thing, right? Trying to book them in there. Okay. And then now what we do on a daily basis is we actually email. Right? Right. And you guessed it. What is it going to do? You try to book them in, right? This goes on for the next 7. We go for 5 days typically. So 2, 3, 4, 5. Right. It's all doing the same thing. Trying to get them to book in. Right. And this, remember, this all goes to our AI. That's going to help book an appointment. Right. If they haven't replied within that 7 or within that 5-day period, then we move them on to a long-term nurture. What we found when we look at all the stats is if they don't reply within those 5 days, typically they're not going to reply. That response, last time we ran the numbers for all of our clients, it was 70, I believe. I'm trying to remember exactly the number, but it was 72%. I know it was a low 70, 72% of all the bookings came within the first 48 hours. So anyone that booked, they typically did it within that first 48 hours. So that's kind of the most important time frame is right here. Okay. But we still get people booking here, right? Almost 30% of people book after that, which is fine. We found that very, very, very few people booked after that 5 days. Very few people responded after those 5 days. The only thing that ever got people to respond after on that last day was basically we said like, hey, it looks like things may have changed. So we're going to, you know, not send you another email about this, or we're gonna give your spot to somebody else, something like that. Just say like, hey, it looks like things have changed. If not, let us know. Again, depending on what the offer is, if it's time dependent or there's a discount or a bonus or something like that, we say like, hey, we're going to take this away unless you reply today. So right there. Now, the people that typically do this good, they usually miss the next part. Okay. So if they haven't replied in that, what we want to do at this point now is, okay, so we're going to say, did not book, right? Okay, so they didn't book anything. This is what we're going to do now. Is we're going to start on a 30-day nurture sequence, okay? Nurture sequence, right? What that is we are doing 2 to 3 emails per week, okay? And what they're going over are, we use testimonials, right, in the story. So we use objections. So everything's in a story based, right? We're sending those out 2 to 3 days a week. And then on the end, PS, we have a PS. And it's basically like whenever, hey, PS, whenever you're ready to get started, here's the next step, right? Just a simple PS on what to do next. And like I said, we do 2 or 3. And really how we determine whether there's 2 or 3, if we have a client that has like next to no testimonials, it's really hard to have storytelling on testimonials. We don't have them. That's usually when we stick to 2 a week. If we have the testimonials, we bump it up to 3 a week, right? We always have that PS. It's not about selling. It's about overcoming their objections. It's about them relating more to some of those testimonials and be like, oh, wow, I'm just like that person. I could probably do that. We go through that for the next 30 days. And then at that point, right, if they did not book anything or did not reply, again, we're going to use this. And I know this is kind of, it's not super structured, but this is as far as my little demonstration, but it's pretty simple. You come down here, right? And then it goes to 2 or 3 emails. We like 3 emails a week, right? And this is where most people drop the ball. Okay. 3 emails a week where we are just providing value, telling stories, using testimonials, kind of same thing, right? But now we have a PS with 3 options. Okay. Usually one is something that's like a free download, something that can just get them to consume more of what we're putting out there to get to know us a little bit better. So first one's typically a free, some kind of free information, like an ebook, that sort of thing. Next one is just some kind of special. Okay, if we have some kind of special low barrier entries, 14 days for $14, whatever, there's something there that's a little lower barrier to entry. And the last one is work with us. We always change these up a little bit, but right. And that's just like, hey, if you're ready to get started to see better results, start our small group personal training program, reply with this email. Now, what we do is we typically get people to reply. If it's our little free info, if they're downloading the ebook, we send them to the page to get the ebook. If it's a special, right, it's a free personal training session. It's 7-day free pass. It's 14 days for $14. It's our 28-day program, whatever that is. It's kind of our front end offer, the thing to bring people in the door. We want them to reply. We don't want them to click on a link. We want them to reply. We want to see who raised their hand, so we can now create a bucket of people that are interested in getting started. They've risen their hand. Good English. They've rose their hand to actually get started. So we want to be able to follow those people. If we just get them to click on something, we won't know exactly who those people are, right? If they don't take action. And that's the thing. Not everyone that clicks is actually going to take that next step. We want them just to be super simple. Just reply 28 days if you're interested in this, or reply free, whatever that is, right? So we can follow with those people. And then the work with us, same thing, right? It could be reply one-on-one, get started, whatever it is, right? And this is just basically so they always know the next step. We forget sometimes that people will sometimes think that you're completely full, right? Or you're not taking on new people, or they just don't know what to do next. So we want to make sure at the very end we say, P.S. Whenever you're ready to get started, here's 3 ways we can, here's 3 ways to do it. Or, hey, whenever you're ready to look better, move better, and have more energy, here's 3 ways we can help you. Right? It goes through there. So it's just always at the end. It's a very soft sell. It's called a super signature. The Dean Jackson has used forever, and I think, gosh, 75% of all marketers have now used with what they do. Is to move them forward, to always remind them, here is the next step. Here's what you can do if you want to get started. So you have that. And then again, this is the long-term stuff. You spent money or time to get that person to give you their details. So the fact that if you just stop after this, you're losing. You're leaving so much money on the table. You're being lazy, right? And if you only come back to them when you have something special, you're not convincing them any further. So even the fact of sending these emails 2 to 3 times a week, you're showing up in their inbox. You're staying top of mind. Even if they're only opening one out of every 3 emails, one out of every 5 emails, right? And 20% open rate isn't bad. It's not great, but it isn't bad, right? You're staying in their inbox. They're always seeing you, right? You're staying top of mind. You paid for them with time or money. So you want to continue to show up for them, right? These don't have to all be sales. Now, the super simple way to sell these people now after is there's 2 things that we do. And I will show you what they are. So the first one, right? Whoops. Is along with those 3 emails, okay, we send out an engagement email. Okay, this is another Dean Jackson thing. Every 2 weeks. Okay. This is basically there's basically 2 kinds. You can have an invite or a question. So let's say you're doing this every other week. The 1 week you do it is like, hey, we'd like to invite you to come in to try our new program, or hey, we're opening up spots for our new XYZ program that will help you do this, this, and this. If you're interested, comment, now. Again, same idea as that super signature. We're trying to drive them back in to see who raises their hand, and then we follow up with that person. The other one is, again, whatever reason they kind of opted in the first place. So let's say super generic one, like, hey, are you still thinking about starting a fitness routine? Question mark, enter Scott, right? Simple as that. Send that out. Again, a variation of that question. So one's an invite, one's a question, right? Hey, are you still looking? Hey, are you interested in having more energy or losing weight? Again, they reply, then we start that conversation with them every other week. We have some clients that they send out a variation of this every single week, tied in with those emails that they're sending. But to get started with, unless you have a really small email list, then I would do this every other week because it's very subtle selling. And then the other one is, because you're having an SMS list, send a activation SMS every 4 to 6 weeks. Okay, that's just an offer to come in. I would just create 2 different offers and rotate those every time you do it. Now, here's a secret with this that will help you, especially if you have a big list, is that you want to send out 50 texts daily, Monday through Thursday. Reason being is you send it on Friday. Typically, you're not going to get them to come in until Monday. And what we've seen is we have the most success sending these from Monday to Thursday and dripping them out. So let's say, and this is the reason, if you have, say, 500 leads, you have their phone number. If you send it out to all 500 on Monday, and let's say 5% of people respond because they're interested, right? So 5% of that is 25 people. Are you realistically going to be able to follow up and book in 25 people to come in and get started that week? Probably not. So you're going to lose some of those people. So we rip it out so that we're sending out just a small fraction of that. So again, if only 5% a daily did responded to this, we're having about 2 to 3 leads a day, right? So over that 4 days, it's going to be 8 to 12 leads, right? A lot more manageable over that time to actually get those people in, especially if we're following with 2 leads a day. We can probably get them in, right? Or you can probably do 2 or 3 people a day, which isn't too bad. So I would start there. And you're doing that like I said, every 4 to 6 weeks. Okay. So I'm gonna take an overview. This is kind of the bare bones playbook of what we do. We do different things. We add different stuff to our clients, but this is kind of this is the like the vitamins and minerals, right? This is the water and the vegetables. This is the basics that everyone needs to be doing. So lead comes in, right? We follow up straight away. 30 minutes later, we also have that email there that's all pushing towards the AI, so it can actually, when they respond, it can engage with them, answer their questions, and get them booked in on your calendar, right? They took the first micro commitment, which was to say, hey, I'm going to give you my details. Now I want to make that second micro commitment to book that appointment, right? If they don't do it there, follow up the next day, 5 days, sending it all through there. If they don't book, okay, now we take them straight into that 30-day sequence where we nurture them, right? Everything's based on testimonial storytelling, using your testimonial so that they can further bond with your business, resonate with you. Using objections, figure out those objections that you use that you would have got when you did your avatar research, right? Going over those objections in a storytelling way, and then just have a PS of what to do next. If they want to get started, here's what to do next. Again, if they don't book after that, which there's going to be people that don't. Most people aren't going to book in when they first come in, right? You're going to get less people, like a higher percentage is not going to do anything than to do something. So we want to continue to follow with those people. Again, you put time and money and effort into this. They don't book. Now we just go long-term nurture. We're sending 3 emails a week. The PS for 3 options. Here is your free thing to bond with us more, to consume more of our information. Next one is like, what's our front end offer? What's the thing we want to invite people in that's a smaller time frame or investment? And then the last one is just our, hey, if you want to get started and work with us, here's what to do next. Every other week, send that engagement email out to try to get them to come in, see who's ready. I always think that we're trying to skim the top, like who is ready right now that we can skim the top of, and they're going to put up their hand. We can follow up with them. Remember, don't automate the shit out of everything. Like, too many people make this mistake. Get them to reply. Now you know. So after 3 months, you'll have all these people that have replied to things that you can continue to reach out with because you know that they were interested, right? You can tie back with that. You know who that person is, right? Every 4 to 6 weeks, send a reactivation SMS. Drip it out daily, right? Monday to Thursday. Don't send them all at once. Drip them out. It also helps maintain your SMS list. And if you're doing this regularly, you don't have to send a whole bunch of text message. It can just be every 4 weeks. Just send that out to people. Just send it out to people, right? Alternate that offer, just 2 different offers. Okay. It doesn't have to be anything crazy. Let's say I'm going to give you a super basic example. Let's say that your program is normally $200 a month, right? You could say for your first reactivation campaign, 50% off your first month, right? So that's going to be $100, right? The next time you run it, it's like, hey, we're giving you $100 off your first month. It's the exact same offer. It's just written a different way. It's just showing a different way. So, yeah, that's it. Like that's the bare bones of what to do. But it all starts with you with doing the avatar information first, not sounding like everybody else. AI is amazing. It also is terrible if you're not using it the right way. You are going to just vanilla with everybody else. You're going to blend in with everybody else if you don't actually take the time to understand who you're trying to talk to, their pain points, and be different. If I could leave you with just one thing, quit fucking copying everybody else because it's not helping your business, right? Templates and all this stuff doesn't help you. You need to understand, start with the basics, right? You tell your clients, like when they're like, hey, should I do creatine and I need like pre-workout and post-workout, and when should I take my BCAAs? You're like, how about this? How about you drink some effing water and eat some vegetables? And maybe let's have breakfast, right? Let's start with the basics. This is the basics of what you need to do. You need to start there, and all your marketing is going to get better. So the link for the avatar GPT is down there. Take it, use it, go in there. Don't rely on Chat GPT alone, but use it to help research that. Then write your copy. Look it over. Just because AI writes you something doesn't mean it's right. You should know your client best. You should know if that sounds good. Okay. Don't rely on it. Use it to help what you're doing. So that's it. take this information, start to implement it. And like I said, just get back to the basics. It's going to help you out.